Good morning, class 9th. After learning about plant tissues, today we will learn about animal tissues and its various types. In case of animals where the body is expected to perform uncountable functions simultaneously, it is obvious that the number of tissues will also be innumerable, right? So, how do we study all these? Well, we don't need to worry. For simplicity, we would prefer dividing all the animal tissues into 4 major categories depending upon their function. So, firstly, we have one for the protection, then a lot of connection, followed by movement and locomotion, and lastly for transmission of signals for quick and efficient work. Based on this, we get 4 major types of tissues as epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue respectively. We have a descriptive flowchart of animal tissues. Kindly make it into your notebook. Yes. So, in this lecture, let's begin with the first type of epithelial tissue. As the name says, epi, that means above. Thus, epithelial tissue is the one which lies above the entire body, forming a protective covering. Along with covering, the body is also have some barriers between the various organs separating them. No doubt it is epithelial tissue. Now, the structure of epithelial tissue is quite evident from its function. Yes, since it has to perform a protective layer, it cannot afford to have intercellular spaces. Hence, we find epithelial tissue to have tightly pegged cells forming continuous sheets. The tissue lack intercellular spaces and it also have extremely small amount of cementing material. So every single substance that passes in or out of cells needs to cross the epithelial layer at least once. Accordingly, the permeability of cells will differ in various epithelia depending upon the exchange of materials. Now, when we talk about all the epithelial cells in general, we need to first understand a common characteristic between them. That is basement membrane. May it be any different type of epithelia, all of them will always have the cells resting on a thin fibrous supportive membrane like structure, and this is called basement membrane. It consists of collagen fibers and it is a non-cellular structure, means there is no cells present in this basement membrane. They are all made of fibers called collagen fibers. The basement membrane, apart from supporting, also helps to hold the cells together in a single straight line to form a uniform and consistent layer. Okay, so getting back to the types of epithelia, in order to study them, let us take a simple example. So we have basement membrane in front of us. Now, depending upon the function, let's classify them. So we have, firstly, the function is filtration. What kind of structure should be present according to you? Yes, it needs to be very flat surface. So this type of epithelium is referred to as simple squamous epithelium. Now, second, let's take up the next function, that is absorption and secretion. For this, obviously, we would need a larger surface area, right? That is why we have large, tall, pillar-like cells on the basement membrane forming a columnar epithelium. Now, at times, we need strength and support along with the larger surface area. For this, we slightly change the structure to cube-like cells and form the cuboidal epithelium. It will provide strength. Lastly, we have certain organs that need specialized secretions. So, when such cases are present, we need to modify a few cells that would perform secretion of specialized chemicals like hormones or enzymes. These are called the gland cells. And the epithelium consisting of such kind of cells is called glandular epithelium. Now, let us study the description. Squamous epithelium tissue. Epithelial tissue. These epithelia are common where absorption or transport of material is important. They also play a role in diffusion, osmosis, and filtration. Simple squamous epithelium and stratified squamous epithelium. There are two terms. Simple means only single layer of squamous epithelial cells are present, but in the case of stratified means strata means layer, they form multiple layers one above the other, right? So simple squamous epithelium are extremely thin and flat layer, and it is very delicate lining. Esophagus and the lining of mouth are also covered with the squamous epithelium. The skin which protects the body is also made of squamous epithelium, but skin epithelial cells are arranged in many layers so that they can prevent wear and tear to our skin. Since they are arranged in a pattern of layers, the layer of epithelium is called stratified squamous epithelium. Here you can see simple squamous epithelium. It is also called pavement epithelium as it makes a base. It makes a thin layer which allows the filtration, and it will allow absorption plus some of the exchange of material through diffusion, osmosis, etc. So we have basement membrane, and that basement membrane have a flat layer of cell, that is flat cells, thus form simple squamous epithelium. Simple squamous epithelium is found in blood capillaries, alveoli, inner lining of mouth. But how can we forget about skin? As told earlier, skin have multiple layers of squamous epithelium arranged one above the other. It forms stratified squamous epithelium. Yes, next is columnar epithelium, where absorption and secretion occurs as in the inner lining of intestine. Tall epithelial cells are present. This columnar means pillar-like epithelium which facilitates the movement of substances across the epithelial barrier. In the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelium is present, but it has cilia there because in respiratory tract some dust particles or other material may enter, so they are stationary. Just to throw them out, we have cilia. Cilia will observe them that they have that dust particle in our nasal cavity, and they will send some messages, and in turn they will be thrown out. So cilia are responsible for moving those stationary particles from the particular location to the outside or wherever it is supposed to be sent. Okay, so in respiratory tract, the columnar epithelium tissue have cilia, and the cilia are hair-like projections. Okay, these cilia can move, and their movement pushes the mucus forward to clear it. This type of epithelium is called ciliated columnar epithelium. So one can say columnar epithelium or columnar epithelial cells or tissues are modified into the ciliated columnar epithelium. Okay. So here you can see columnar epithelium. They carry out the function of absorption or secretion, and it is present in the inner lining of intestine where the food is supposed to be absorbed. Yes, you can see the hair-like projections here. These are called cilia, and they are present on those columnar epithelial cells. So columnar epithelial cells carry out absorption and secretion, but in some cases they need to move the material in or out. So as I have given you one example of respiratory tract, lining of respiratory tract have these ciliated columnar epithelium, and female reproductive system also have ciliated columnar epithelium in fallopian tube so that they can move the egg forward. Yes, cuboidal epithelium. Cuboidal epithelium are cube-shaped cells. They form lining of kidney tubules and duct of salivary glands where it provides them mechanical support. We have already discussed we need strength along with the protection. So cuboidal epithelium provide strength and protection to the inner lining of the kidney tubules and duct of salivary glands. Okay, so cuboidal epithelium tissue contains cells that appear square like. If we take a cross section, it will appear like square, but when we observe them marginally at the corners, they will look longer than they are wide. So they are cuboidal epithelial cells or tissue. The cells of simple cuboidal epithelium are specialized for diffusion and absorption. You can see here here they are observed as a square, right? But here they are quite longer than they are wide, so they are called cuboidal epithelium. Okay, yes, glandular epithelium. Epithelial cells, whether it is cuboidal, columnar, at some location needs specialized secretions, right? Like hormone, enzymes, some oil secretions, sweat gland secretion, right? Sweat. So in this condition, the normal epithelial cell have some specialization, and these specialized cells are called gland cells which secrete some kind of substances as per the location and function. Okay, sometimes a portion of epithelial cell fold inwards and a multicellular gland is formed. This is called glandular epithelium. You can see there are a number of cells which are somewhat invaginated inside and forming a gland cell. Okay, so they are present in salivary gland, mucus gland, glands secreting earwax, digestive system having different kind of glands for production of enzymes, your glands which produce hormones, mammary glands which produce milk, sweat glands on the skin, all are glandular epithelium. Okay, here is the difference between epithelial tissues. So we have squamous epithelium, cuboidal epithelium, columnar epithelium, striated squamous epithelium. So kindly go through it and note down these points into the notebook. Copy all the notes as it is, and if you have any doubt, please feel free to ask. Thank you.